Hello there, and thanks for joining me today on Doctor Teach Me to Parent. Remember, we're basing our program on my book by that title, Doctor Teach Me to Parent, and make sure you have a copy that you use for your own parenting and your own child management within the home. So the book's available on Amazon. Pick it up and have your own copy of it. Hey, we got a great program today. Priscilla Robbins is with us today, the director of the Rescue the Children program here in Fresno. So let me just say this to you now. If you have interest in homeless, if you have interest in women with children who are in need, great need, if you have any interest in the rescue system, welfare system of any kind, working with children and men and women and so on, this program's for you. And go and call somebody to invite them to listen to the program as well, if you know somebody who's interested in this particular topic. So we'll look at the program of Rescue the Children and what it's like to live on the street and what it's like to come off the street and live in a program where you learn the skills of effective parenting. And that's what we're going to do today. So stay with us and invite somebody to join us. Now, before we do, let me just give you a little quote that puts it in perspective and just helps tell what we're going to talk about today. The topic is child training. Parents are training their children now on how they shall train their children later on. And that's really the concept that we're looking at. We are training women, mothers, who are hopefully managing their children well, because those children will be mothers someday and train their children and manage their children. So it's an ongoing process, and that's why we're doing this today. And Priscilla, welcome to be with us today. That was great that you were able to do so. Now, before we talk about Rescue the Children and what you're doing there, just tell us about you. How did you grow up? What was your family like?
So I grew up in a Christian home with two parents, and both parents were involved. So my father,
Good point.
yeah, it's really important because we as people were created to receive an appropriate love from a man, which is our father, and an appropriate love from our mother, and the nurturing that goes involved or is involved in raising our children is extremely important. So I was raised.
So you're very fortunate.
Yes, I was.
To have that kind of a stability and structure for your upbringing.
Yes.
Yes, all your years.
All of my years. So my parents are still married. They have their 55 years marriage.
I see. So what was unique? If you were going to say, my family stood for or was known for, or what was the key capstone idea of your family?
Jesus Christ was the key. Like we were taught from a very young age of who he was and how our identity was based on how he saw us.
I see.
And that was really important. All of my siblings were raised that way. But it didn't mean that there wasn't any difficulties, or it didn't mean that we didn't make choices that that steered us away from those teachings, right? But the Bible says that when you when you teach a child, that's the way they should go, that when we get older, we're not going to depart. And that's very true.
Every kid has this kind of a feeling like, I wish that my parents would have, or I wish that we as a family would have. Do you have any regrets?
I do. I'm the youngest of my four siblings. So during that time, my father really studied a lot, and he was really involved in the ministry. And what people don't realize is that sometimes that does impact the child. So if there was something that I could say, I wish it didn't happen, or I wish that I would have more, is my father more. So even though he was there, the ministry was first.
I remember counseling a young lady one time who grew up in a home where her father was a minister. And she said this, and it always impressed me. She says, my father was gone most of the time, but when he was home, he paid attention to us.
That is true.
Would that be a fair statement?
Very true, yes. So we understood what he was doing. We understood that he loved us, and when he was at home, he was present and he was there for me. So, so if I had to choose, would I have wished for him to be there a little bit more? Absolutely. Do I regret? No.
How are you doing yourself as a parent? How are you doing in your own home? How you structure and same way that you were raised, or is it different?
Not as strict as how I was raised, but my children are doing well. We have two children. They're two boys, and they're both in the military, so they're doing well. But growing up, I really protected them. I had a lot of conversations with them. When there was an issue going on, we talked it through. So it was really important for me, for my husband and myself, for our children to be heard. And that's really
Good point.
important
Good point.
in
Good
raising
point.
your children, is that they're little people with feelings and with thoughts. And
they want to be heard.
And they want to be heard. It's one of our desires that
Yeah.
we have as human beings.
Yeah.
So that was really important. And then also, I worked at a school district in an office, and I had great teachers. They probably don't even know this, but I paid attention on how they disciplined their students and how they engaged their children.
Sure, sure.
And I brought some of that back
you
home
learn,
to me.
you learn from a variety of sources.
Yes.
Obviously, you kind of pattern it after your own parents.
Absolutely.
But then there are probably 3 or 4 other people that you admire, you respect, you appreciate, and you draw from them.
Yes.
So there's always like a little circle of mentors that you've had,
Yes.
even though they don't know it, like you said. They probably don't even know that you were watching and drawing ideas from them.
And that's important. As parents, it's important for us to be around other parents that model good behaviors with their children, because we learn from each other. And that's really important.
You mentioned about your kids, and because one of the things that's important is that you don't necessarily have to agree with your children.
No.
You don't necessarily have to do what they say or respect what they ask for and fulfill. You don't necessarily have to do that. But you do need to listen.
Yes.
You do need to take in. You do need to consider. You do need to care for what they have to say. And then you do what is right. You do what is just. You do what fits the occasion.
Yes.
But sometimes parents get the idea that because my kid talks, I got to do what he says, so therefore I'm not going to talk to him.
No. We are called as parents to guide our children.
That's right.
But we're also called to allow them to learn on their own in a safe environment. And the safe environment is not only our physical safety, but it's also our emotional safety. And it's also a safe environment for them to express themselves in an appropriate way. That is key when
Very
we're
key, isn't
parenting
it?
our children. So I hope that I was able to model
You're
that
doing
for our
pretty good. I
kids.
would give you an A so far. Good for you. We're going to talk about the program you're directing.
Yes.
Rescue the Children here in Fresno. That's a major program in our community, and it's only been going for a short period of time, but you work with a lot of women, a lot of children, a lot of families, and help them kind of restore themselves and come off the street and come out of poverty and come out of dependency and so on, and help them become independent. We're going to talk about that,
Yes.
Today, but give me just the idea of what Rescue the Children stands for, just as a title.
So we are all children of God, and we're also rescuing our children by working with their mothers. Because those mothers were one-time children that most likely didn't receive the love and the nurture and all the things that a child needs.
Yeah.
We can't give what we don't have.
That's right. That's right.
So a child who doesn't have what they need, when they grow up, they will not be able to give what they never got.
Yeah.
So that's where Rescue the
So that's
Children.
the concept of Rescue the Children.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also are working with the children. So we are a program that the mothers come in with their children, and we are a true woman and children's program. So there are certain things that we do with the child while they're with us to help them express their feelings and know how to communicate.
That's the unique contribution
Yes.
I think you make to our community, but I think to the world, if you think of it in that sense. Because it's children belong to women, mothers, and fathers, and sometimes they don't have a father. But whoever they have to parent them, they belong to each other.
Yes.
And you have to see them as a unit and a bond, and hopefully you build that bond. Well, that's a good point. Take a break, and we're going to come back and maybe unfold this a little bit in terms of really what is this program? How do you reach out to these people? How do they come to you? I mean, what do you do when they come, and what's a day like? We're going to talk about that a little bit when we come back. So get a cup of coffee, and come on back in just a few minutes as we take our break now.
The Green Gables Care Home is a 24-hour assisted living facility for the elderly located in Clovis, California, offering spacious private and semi-private rooms which are wheelchair approved, catering to the special person in your life who needs attention and wants to live in a loving home environment. The Green Gables Care Home has assisted living in secured homes for elderly with Alzheimer's, memory loss, and for your loved ones needing assistance with their activities of daily living. Call 559-297-9438 and visit greengablescarehome.com.
Sometimes good intentions hurt rather than help. For just $1.76 per meal, the Fresno Rescue Mission offers more than food. We offer hope. Please donate today.
Do you need a locksmith? Layman's Lock and Safe Service and Repair is available for you. 559-228-1805.
Gained a lot, learned a lot, and got a lot of love. If it weren't for the knowledge that I had gained from the classes at PCC, I probably wouldn't be the mom I am today. See, there it goes.
I would love you to meet my son, Aaron. My situation was very difficult. I didn't know how my life was going to turn out.
We graduated in June 2010 and we got married in July. And through family, the Pregnancy Care Center changed our lives.
The Pregnancy Care Center was a huge, vital part in helping me walk through that pregnancy, in educating me and loving on me during that time.
Choosing a Medicare plan can be difficult and frustrating. Susan Hatch can guide you through the Medicare maze and help find the right plan for you. Susan helps people understand the confusing and drastic changes that occur every year in Medicare. Susan will only recommend plans that will protect your assets and allow you to continue to see your personal doctor. As a 100% independent agent, Susan is not controlled by any particular insurance company to steer a person onto any one particular plan. Susan was awarded the #1 Medicare supplement agent in California. Look for Susan's Medicare question and answers every Monday in the Fresno Bee. Call Susan at 559-307-2287 and visit MedicareToday.net.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, welcome back to Dr. Teach Me to Parent. We have this very special guest today, Priscilla Robbins, and she is our director of Rescue the Children here in Fresno. And she's been telling us just a little bit, just what Rescue the Children is all about. But what I would like to know, Priscilla, as you kind of unfold this a little bit further, is you work with women who have children. You don't work with children independently or women independently. You want to work with them together as a unit, as a bond. Is that what I understand?
Yes. So Rescue the Children is a ministry of the Fresno Rescue Mission.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have women without children, or women who don't have their children with them, or women who have adult children.
I see.
So our goal is to guide the women to learn why they've made the choices that they've made.
I see.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
the blessing that we have is that we're able to have women with their children, so though they're able to come in. It's really difficult for moms to want to get help and want help, and sometimes they're not able to bring their children with them. And we give them that opportunity because we want to be able to help the children, because as a family, it is
right.
extremely important.
That's right. It's the bond.
Yes.
It's it's there, but you want to strengthen it, but you want to shape it to be a very positive bond. And
Yeah.
The kids will benefit, but the mother has to benefit first.
Yes.
I mean, so that's your target, I assume.
Well, both of them are our targets. Yes, we do work more with the mothers, but we don't neglect the children.
That's good to hear.
The children are extremely important because if we work with the mothers only and we don't work with the children are going to grow up with unresolved issues.
That's what I think.
It's going to be there when
There are
they become
programs like
adults.
that, and I'm glad to hear that you blend these two together.
We do.
That's very important. Yeah. Okay, if I were there, what would a day be like? How would I get through the day?
So we are a structured program, so it's important for the mothers to begin to have these habits as well as their children.
I see.
So a typical day is that they're up and ready for breakfast. Then at 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday, there's devotions, and they do the devotions together while the children are in school or they're in our Discovery Center, which I'll talk a little bit more later on. And typical day is at 8:30, they start class. So we have 4 areas of classes that we teach them.
These are formal classes. These are with an instructor, and
it's with an instructor, and our staff teach the class as well as volunteers. So we have great volunteers who have dedicated an hour and a half every week to come and teach the women, and so they're in class till about 12:30. And if their children are on campus, meaning that they're infants to preschool, they pick up their children and have lunch with them. It's really important for them to have those meals with them. And then after that, we are a work therapy program. It is important to teach work ethics to our women. And so then they have a job, through work therapy in our program. And there we teach them how to work together, how to work as teams, how to be there on time, how to do your best, because we're preparing them, because at the end of the classes, which is in about 10 months,
you hope that they will be out in the workforce.
They will be looking for, they'll be at the job search phase.
That's right. You spoke about classes.
Yes.
What are they? What would be the topics, if you will, or the areas that you cover?
So there are 4 areas that we teach our classes. One is biblical foundation. So we just want to talk about the foundations of the Bible. We have different classes as the 12 women of the Bible and what we can learn from them. It's real important for us, while they're with us, that for them to see themselves as God sees them.
So who would be an example of a woman from the Bible that you would teach about her life and use that as an example or as a model?
Esther.
Okay.
Esther.
So she'd be one.
She would be one.
But you have 12 of them.
We have
but
12
that'd be one.
of them.
So they would learn about Esther.
They would learn about Esther, Ruth, Mary.
And hopefully learn how to live similar.
Yes, because what's real important is that many people believe that in the Bible they're fairy tales, but if you read the stories, they went through their trials. They went through. It wasn't always happy, but at the end, they were victorious, and we want to show that to the women, because the women that come to us are leaving addiction, they're leaving domestic violence, they're leaving these bad behaviors, and that brings shame. And when they have shame, it stops them from viewing themselves as our Creator saw them. So it's important for us to show them that, because when you value yourself, then you do better choices because you understand the value that you have.
So what other topics?
So we have biblical foundation, and then we also have relapse prevention. So the majority of the women that come to us have an addiction struggle, not all of them. So we do relapse prevention to teach them to go deeper than the symptoms, which is the drugs, right, or the alcohol, or picking wrong relationships, or anger. We go to the root cause through our relapse prevention. The other topics, or the other area, is life skills, and that's where we do boundaries. Many of our women don't have boundaries, because if you weren't taught how to have boundaries when you were little, then you don't have boundaries as an adult. And then codependency and save people and all this stuff to teach them how to be healthy and make healthy choices. And then, of course, parenting. So the women are taking 10 months, 9 to 10 months of parenting.
Learning how to be an effective parent.
And also how to parent their children that have gone through trauma. That's really important. We can't, when we have children of trauma, there's a lot of things that come with that. So it's important for us to be able to teach the mothers how to parent their children different.
That's right. But these classes are an hour long, I assume, approximately. And do they have like homework to do? I mean, are you ready? I mean, it's formal education now, right?
Yes, it is. It's an academic setting. So yes, they have homework. They have books. They have study groups. So the women have a lot of questions. It's really neat to see them in this setting because they end up realizing, hey, I can do this.
Sure they can.
I probably didn't finish my GED.
Yeah.
By the way, we have a GED program.
So they can get their GED.
So if they came in and they did not finish their high school, then that becomes part of the program.
So
and
you
we
want
help
them to have a
through
GED
that.
by the time they
Yes.
graduate and leave.
Yes.
That's excellent. Yeah. If you were to narrow down all your teaching and say, what I would like them to learn is 3 things before they leave, to really have that well honed and well memorized and well implemented in their life, what are the 3 skills or the 3 principles or guidelines that you would like them to have if you were just going to pick 3 out of all the stuff you teach?
Self-value. We act out based on what we believe of ourselves. So value. Boundaries, because boundaries kind of encompasses codependency and, know how to say no when it's unsafe. And then parenting. Understanding that, yes, their choices impacted their children, but because of that, you need to love them different.
Sure.
And you need to give them their needs with boundaries. So those are the 3 things.
When you talk about self-love or self-respect and self-esteem and honoring themselves and liking themselves, there's another element to it as well that's very important, and maybe you do this, and I just wondered about that, and that is it's important that you like yourself, but it's also important that you think or that you know that other people like you too.
Yes.
That you read other people and that they are telling you that they value you or they like you or they appreciate you or they're comfortable with you or, some message of that nature.
Yes.
Very important.
Very important. We call that the need of affirmation.
All right.
So it's in our environment, it's easy for us as staff to put ourselves in a position where we're teaching so much that we forget to see how they've grown. And affirmation is extremely important. So letting them know when they make a good choice, no matter how small it is, what is to say, I'm proud of you.
Sure.
Last week you probably wouldn't have reacted that way, but look at you now.
Yeah.
Look all the growth that you've done.
So you have on-the-spot teaching as well.
Yes.
I mean, as interactions take place throughout the day and with the people.
Yes, that's important too, because when they're behaving based on their behavior mechanisms, right? How they cope.
Yeah.
So sometimes when 2 women have a disagreement, they're not going to be reacting very well to each other. It's important for us that at that moment, not only do we do conflict resolution, but also now speak a little bit deeper and find out or help them find out why did you react the way you reacted.
Into that, yeah.
Yes.
You spoke about the children having a little different emphasis and the program kind of their own. You talk about the Discovery Center. Could you unfold that a little bit?
So the Discovery Center is where our the children that are infant to preschool, where they are at when the mother is doing work therapy and in classes. So we have 3 credentialed teachers that have their credentials through California, and 2 teachers aide that are with the children. So if we have a child who maybe it hasn't been nurtured and doesn't really do a lot, then the teacher or the teacher's aide then has goals for that child.
I see.
When to crawl, how they're thriving. And then, of course, in our infant and toddler section, then the teachers are teaching the children about their colors and how to put blocks. All of those things that they would be learning in school. And, of course, in preschool, the teacher is getting them ready for kindergarten.
That's right.
So they know how to write their name, they know their colors, that we're getting them set for that.
Yeah, you probably do this too, because with young children, babies, the developmental process starts with creeping, and then crawling, and then some basic walking. And they have to do that, and they have to coordinate that in a sequential kind of way before a child learns to read, and then learns language and speech and so on. So creeping and crawling is a very important part of any program with young children.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're doing that, because
We are.
that's very basic development.
And then, of course, we have children that are in school age, because we have children up to 6th grade in our program. And they, of course, are off campus. We drive them and pick them up.
So they go to the regular school.
They go to a regular school, and we drop them off and pick them up. But then when they come, then there's an after-school program. So I have a teacher who works with them with their homework.
So
we
they
have
get
a computer.
tutoring and
They
homework,
get
yeah.
tutoring and all that stuff. And then we also have counseling. We have a therapist. So we have a wonderful partnership with Fresno Pacific University on-site program.
Tell me about that. It's,
Yeah, so Fresno.
because they have a counseling program at
They
Fresno
do.
Pacific.
It's called
Is that-
On-Site Counseling Program. And we partnered up with them, and they send every year, actually this is our 2nd year, so that we've had a complete year. And they, we have 2 therapists through them that they actually work with the children. So the children are receiving therapy, and then they do family therapy as well. So
Nice.
at some point,
Wow.
they will bring the mother in.
Sure.
And to be able to see, and the mothers also receive therapy, by the way. So the mothers are receiving therapy separately with another therapist, and then of course the children are.
Sure.
And then to bring them together and just to see how they're learning to communicate. The children are expressing how the life they had before impacted them. It's neat. It's neat
This is
to
a busy
see.
day.
It is a busy day.
It's a busy day for you as the director of this. I mean, it's all organized and
But I have great staff
yeah,
that
yeah.
actually are doing the work as well.
sounds like you do. You have very credentialed people and licensed people to work with.
Yes, and we also have 3 case managers that have their AOD, alcohol and drug counseling credentials, and they're case managers to the women. As well, we have a children's coordinator who works with each individual mother to help them practice the parenting skills that they're learning in class. So the women that come and who are living with us, because they are living with us for 18 months, they're working.
Fresno's blessed to have this program.
Yes, and I'm blessed to be there.
And you must be part in directing it. Let me ask you this question. We'll take a break and then you can come back and answer it. But how would a person get off the street, walk downtown, and enter your program? How do they get to you? Could you tell us that in a minute? Let's take a break and get your cup of coffee and invite somebody to join the program by listening. So see you in a few minutes.
When you need a dentist who has a passion for superior aesthetics and comfort, you need Dr. Christopher Wong with Cedar North Dental. Call 559-432-4948 or visit cedarnorthdental.com.
Try to close the club. Tanya, come here.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Kitchen in my hometown.
It's not about learning the right steps
4,
or making contact.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's not about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about taking steps to greatness. About making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen has what it takes. It's about people in our clubs who bring out the greatness in every kid who enters our doors. It's not just about being on stage. It's about walking across it. Great futures start here, and here, and here.
Sat7 is a Christian media network that uses uncensored satellite television to broadcast across the Middle East and North Africa, and is also available globally online.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, welcome back, and we're talking to Priscilla Robbins of the Rescue the Children program, which is associated with the Fresno Rescue Mission downtown, and she works with women and children who have come off the street and come out of poverty and come out of homelessness and a variety of such situations in 18 months in a teaching program in their Rescue the Children program downtown. So we're learning about it. And we've learned quite a bit. But what I'm interested in, Priscilla, is how does a woman and her child, let's take a woman or child, how does she get to your program? How does she get off the street and come to you? How does she come out of her apartment or wherever she's living or her home room and come to you? How do they get to you?
So there's different ways that the women find out about Rescue the Children. Some is through church. You know, there's a mom and a child and they go to their church and say, I need help, and we do our best to...
So the churches refer.
The church refers. Somebody. Mm-hmm. There are times that probation refers to them, so
mm-hmm.
we are alternative sentencing.
Oh, you're part of the alternative sentencing program.
Yes, we are. So we sometimes have women mm-hmm. that we'll pick up from the county jail. They've been sentenced to us.
And the courts recognize you as an alternative sentencing
yes, they do.
Program.
They
okay,
do.
That's good. That's good.
And then also Child Protective Services. We do have mothers that have come and they're on their own, and Child Protective Services, there's things that you need to do for you to be able to have your children back. So we work with Child Protective Services with them as well to help the children come back.
Beautiful.
And then also we have an outreach program. So the women that are in our program now, 2 Fridays per month, we actually go out and we drive around Fresno, and when we find a woman with a sign saying, I need help, we park and 2 of our women go out because a lot of our women know exactly what they're going through.
They've been there before
They
themselves.
have been there before, and they let them know what Rescue the Children is and how we could help them, and then we offer them a bottle of water and we pray for them. And so the more we do that, you know, we've had a few that have called us and said, I found out about you because a van pulled up and 2 women came out and told me about you. So it's different ways.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I also go out to churches when asked, and I talk about Rescue the Children to their Bible group or their women's group or even in church.
So the word gets out, and then as people know people, they refer.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can have how many people are maximum? How many families, young families?
I would say about maybe 40 to 45. Yes, because we have, that's the number of rooms that we have.
Okay.
But then, of course, with children, it would be more because there's some others that could have 5 to 6 children with them, and we will have them.
You have quite a few on your campus then.
Yes, and then we also have women that come to us pregnant, so we help them through that process too. So that's a blessing to have the children born with us. And we help the mothers while they're now caring for their infant babies.
Yeah. I'm a scientist, so I always look at it from the point of view of saying, okay, you do all this. So what? Does it do any good? Mm-hmm. Is there any impact? Is there any lasting effect? What's your answer?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That's a simple question.
That's a simple answer. Give me the longer one now.
So women are relational.
Yes.
How women grow, how women relate to others, how women accept criticism, whatever the case may be, it's through relationship. And that's our focus as well. So for many of the women that come into our program, because we are a staff of women,
Yes.
we are their first example, their first healthy relationship. And because we built that relationship, they understand that we love them, genuinely love them, and we're open that way. And then, so that relationship begins to build so that when they do graduate, even when they leave, there are some women who leave without graduating for many different reasons. And but they all know that when they're leaving, we're not angry with them. We're actually still their biggest cheerleader because we've already built a relationship.
A little bit of one, anyway.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Do they come back generally, or once somebody leaves, they drop out, they're gone?
No. If they call us back and they say, I want to come back, we'll say, all right, come back.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not, we will give them chance after chance as long as they're showing that they do want change. That's part of recovery.
It is, by the way.
Right? I mean, it's not that you make the decision and suddenly you have everything put together.
We would like it to be better than that.
We
would like it,
would.
you do something and you recover. It's all over.
But it's not that way. The reality is that there's a lot of relapses, there's a lot of bad choices, and what type of program would we be if we're saying that we are a Christ-centered organization, but you only get one chance at this?
If we done that,
yeah, it would be contradicting to what,
I like
to
the
what
fact
we
that you
teach.
teach prevention of relapse.
Yes.
Because you recognize that there is relapse, but you teach people not to relapse.
Yes.
So you're hoping that you're actually improve that situation so they don't drop out and they don't relapse, but they really do succeed.
Yes, because part of relapse is, or why the addiction is there, is because they're numbing a pain. They're numbing something. So there's pain, there's circumstances that they haven't dealt with.
Yeah, much
so
of it.
So we give them that safe environment to be able to deal with that as to, this is why. This is what I haven't worked on. And then we help them build a support team, not in our program, but in churches. Yeah. So relationship is really important. So when they do leave, because we have built that relationship, they do. They call us back. They want to tell us where they're at. They give us updates. It's
so what
really
does a
neat.
success look like, without naming anybody, but just can you think of somebody that would, say, represent kind of a typical example of somebody who has gone through the program 18 months and has succeeded and has actually altered their life and changed it? Is there a kind of a prototype or a model of that?
If I wanted to, if I would explain a prototype, because success looks different.
Yes, it does for everybody. Yes.
For everybody, I would say that not that everything is a fairy tale at the end, but how they react to their situation is healthy.
Okay.
So, for example, we
have
a graduate who she worked the whole entire time to get her children back. And unfortunately, she didn't get to have her children back. And she graduated about 2-3 years ago, and she still doesn't have her children back. But when you see her, she's successful. She has a job. She's no longer in her addiction. She is involved, has a good support team. That's success. Now, some people might say, but she didn't have her children. No, but she changed.
That's right.
And she didn't stay in her unhealthy choices.
That's right.
So that is a success.
There was
so
something more than just having your child with you. It's becoming a full person yourself.
Right. So that's the success. Because the truth is that some of the choices that the women have made are choices that the system, the government will not give them their child back. But they still are now making good choices.
Yeah. That makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It does.
When you can see somebody that has struggled and struggled and struggled, but rises above it, eventually it comes along.
That's the reason.
Slow process, isn't it?
It is a slow process, and it's a painful process because they are really working hard, and it's not. There's a lot of things that go on through that process.
Do you get discouraged?
Yes.
You have your down days,
I do
tough
have my
times
down.
for you.
I do.
It all doesn't go so well, I'm sure.
No, it's not an easy job to be able to be there every day. It's not easy. And there are times that I do go home, but I also have to make sure that I have boundaries, professional boundaries, that I'm not codependent, that I'm not the person who's going to save them. And I need to make sure that my relationship with God is intact, because I'm only an instrument in this big journey that Rescue the Children is going through.
Do you have something special that you do that just prevents burnout? You know, that just helps you keep an attitude that's positive, but keep energy and keep your stamina about?
I love to laugh. So what I do in the middle of the day, if there's a time where I could feel it, I go to the Discovery Center and I hold a child.
I see.
Or I play with the child. And that really reminds me of why I do what I do and the importance of what we do, and that it's not about me.
That's right.
It's about the women and the children that come to us.
And it's every day's different.
Every
day's different. Some days are pretty discouraging. Other days are very elating, and they're happy days and successful days to you.
Yeah, it is. And then sometimes in one day there are sad moments, and then the next hour it's happy moments, because we are involved with all of the women that we have.
Yeah. You know, before we take a break, you spoke about you have volunteers.
Yes.
You have staff that are trained, staff that are paid, staff that are licensed and credentialed and so on. But you also said you have volunteers. If somebody wanted to volunteer, how do they go about that? What's the connection point?
The connection point is, well, we have different ways to volunteer. So the Fresno Rescue Mission, we do have a volunteer coordinator. So the first step is to do an application. But it's really what do you like to do? So we have volunteers who teach. We have volunteers who mentor. So these are women who come alongside, and they're matched with the woman in our program, and they mentor them through the process. Great friendships come out from that. We also have sponsors, because the women go through the 12-step program, so they are in need of sponsors. We have children volunteers.
Oh.
You want to come?
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, they come and they spend time in the Discovery Center and help us in that. We also have people who come in like church groups or just groups to do volunteers to help the children playing games, or having a good baseball game or volleyball game, whatever the case may be. And then we also have volunteers who do our front lobby. They're the ones who answer our phones, and they're the ones who check out the women when they go to appointments, so they're able to build relationships that way too.
Sure.
And then we have Bible studies that people can do, and they have church service on Sundays. You could even volunteer in our boutique. If you are a volunteer who likes clothes and likes to dress women up, we have a volunteer position for that as well. So, and for the children too, because we do provide everything for them. Some of our women, especially the ones who are running away from a domestic violence situation, they come only with what they have. So we have that as well.
Interesting. Yeah. You got a variety of opportunity for the community to participate with you.
Yes.
So it isn't just your own little program that you're trying to keep to yourself and hide from the community.
Right. We can't do it on our own.
This
we
is
need
community
our
based,
volunteers.
and this is community dependent.
Yes.
You're dependent on the community to come in be part of it.
Yes, we are.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, we're going to take a break. And I'd like to ask you this question. All these women, all these mothers, all these little families that you deal with, you must have learned 4, 5, 6 things, I don't know, that you would like to share with our audience. You'd like to share with women, with mothers, with parents. I'm going to give you a chance to do that.
All right.
Okay? Let's come on back in a couple minutes.
Hey there, world. I'd like to introduce you to someone really special and really cool. This is my mom. My mom is an amazing person. She is a writer. She is a newly transplanted Texan. She is a woman of faith, and she loves 80s music. She also is a person with a very rare genetic muscular disorder called Pompe disease.
Pompe disease is a terminal, progressive illness. It's a genetic enzyme deficiency which ultimately leads to the destruction of your skeletal muscles. Those are the muscles that control how you move, your arms, your legs, and your torso. When your jaw or esophageal muscles are affected, you can no longer eat and require a feeding tube. When your diaphragm is impacted, you can't breathe on your own any longer and require a trach ventilator. When your legs are impacted, you will no longer be able to walk without assistance. You can lose bladder and bowel control. It affects children and adults, and eventually it kills you. But it's real.
Now we're lucky. My mom's still able to walk, though she uses a cane to get around most of the time. She's still able to breathe unassisted, but she can't go upstairs, and she needs some kind of assistance to get up from a seated position, like if she's sitting in a chair. She has to examine every activity ahead of time to know if there are things like handicap parking, accessible buildings, and even functional bathrooms. All of her activities depend heavily on the weather. A windy day can be just as dangerous as an icy one. She jokes that you can tell what kind of day she's having by whether she can lift her arms high enough to do her hair. And she recently moved into a one-story house specifically with the idea that she's one day going...
Those are the kind of things she has as everyday concerns. Her keys are falling in public and not being able to get up. That actually happened a couple of years ago. She fell and fractured her pelvis because she was unable to break her fall.
I receive an enzyme replacement therapy every 2 weeks for life. It's a 6-hour IV. It helps slow the progression of the disease, but it is not a cure. And it costs about $100,000 every time you sit in a chair. Insurance takes care of most of that if you're lucky, but not everyone is, and the expenses add up very quickly. Things like wheelchairs, accessible vehicles, special housing, travel costs to medical conferences, doctor's appointments, and clinical trials. Luckily, there is a group that helps families with Pompe handle these costs. The United Pompe Foundation is a group connecting funds with real people who need help. This was founded by a father whose son has Pompe disease, and they could not find the resources that they needed. They assist patients and their families with medical costs and other expenses that they need to survive day to day. Every little bit helps.
There are a lot of things in life that we really take for granted, and sometimes the scariest things in the world are the things that you can't see. So today we're asking for you to help us shed a little light on a rare and scary disease. Please share this video with your friends, your family, strangers, anybody that you come across. Education is a big thing. It makes a big difference. And another way to make a really huge difference in someone's life is to go check out the United Pompe Foundation. Their website is in this video description. Click on it, check it out, and go ahead and donate some money if you're able to. Again, this is an organization giving real help to real people who are amazing and need it, like my mom. I love her, and thank you so much for helping us out. Thank you so much.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, thanks for coming back and joining us now for our little final segment as we talk to Priscilla Robbins of the Rescue the Children program here in Fresno, and working currently with about 30 women in the program and their children, and teaching them a whole new way of life from what they've come from in their own poverty and off the streets and all the places where they've been. So you're really doing a great work, and you're inspirational. But here, what I'd like to ask you this question is, we have an audience of mothers and families, not necessarily those that come off the street, but what would you like to say to them? What words of advice would you have for a mother out there in the audience, or a family that's listening, and you might just draw upon your experiences with working with these women that you work with?
One of the things that I've learned from the years that I've been working with the women and children is that children are people too. And they have their feelings, they have their thoughts, and they want to have conversations. And that's big. So one of the advices that I would give is, don't speak to your children, speak with your children. You could learn from them. Get down to eye level, sit down with them, let them talk, and sometimes don't even correct them. Because you're teaching them how to express themselves at 3 years old, at 6 years old.
They're not interested in a debate or an
they're
argument.
Not.
They just want somebody to listen.
Exactly. Another advice that I would give is that if you know that you did not have a healthy relationship with your parents, or maybe you did, but there were some things that you somehow did not, like you're angry or you don't feel your self-worth, to really get help for yourself, because you're impacting how your children are going to grow up. So that's one too.
I always say that you first have to be a leader of yourself before you can be a leader of anybody else.
Right.
So in a sense, you have to parent yourself before you can parent a child.
And then the last one is boundaries. Our children want boundaries. They desire boundaries. They want to be safe with you. And if you are a parent that doesn't have boundaries with your children are not, you'll notice, because they'll do everything, but it's also, they won't feel safe. Children feel safe when where there's loving discipline and when there's boundaries in the household. So I see that. I see that with the children that come in.
Loving discipline.
Loving discipline.
I like the term. What do you mean by it?
Loving discipline means it's really teaching. If a child makes a mistake, you teach them, explain it to them. Don't get angry at them because they made a mistake. Many times, the women that in the beginning when they come in, if a child misbehaves, our reaction is, well, why did you do that? Don't you know better? Yeah. And sometimes it even goes farther, further, you're stupid, or no, just say, well, oh, you made a mistake, it's okay, and this is why this is dangerous, or this is why we don't do that. Kids will react to that.
They do.
They do.
I always say punishment is a way of telling a child what not to do, but it never tells a child what to do.
What to do.
And that's what the child really wants and needs, and that you as a parent, that's the role you play. It's to stop an inappropriate behavior. That's true. But it's what is the appropriate behavior? What was the better behavior in that situation the next time it occurs?
Right. And then also because the children that are with us, they are children with trauma. They learn different. So you might say, okay, he just spilled his milk. Why is he reacting to that way? But a child with trauma who has seen a lot, they might believe that I dropped something, I made a mistake, so therefore I'm going to get hit, I'm going to get yelled at. So we have to teach the mothers to understand that, and then to teach them and say, okay, you made a mistake. Okay, next time let's go ahead and put the cup a little further. That's what I mean about loving discipline.
A traumatized child, no matter how they're traumatized, would look upon a situation like the worst thing is going to happen.
Yes.
And
then also, because we have mothers that have come from addiction, many times the mother has used drugs during their pregnancy, which also causes the child to have behavioral issues. They've been traumatized even in the womb. So we have to parent them different. Yeah. So the more we know about our children, the more about ourselves, then we're able to love them, discipline them with love, teach them with love, encourage them with love, and even let them make mistakes in love.
No wonder you like what you're doing. No wonder. It's a natural fit.
It is.
You seem to be the natural person.
Thank you.
For this kind of position and this kind of work, and it's really not work. That's probably not a good word for it. It's service. Yeah. It's you call it a ministry. It's really a service to other people.
Yes.
As compared to just a job.
Right, and that's how that's the language we use. That the women that come in, we're servicing them. We're there to help them. Yes.
Well, I like talking to you today. This is wonderful.
Thank you.
Rescue the children.
Rescue the children.
If you have do you need anything from the audience? If somebody has some few dollars, could they send you a few dollars? Could you use it? Or
yes, you could go ahead and make a check out to Fresno Rescue Mission. But we also need, hygiene, because we do provide all of that for the women. So soaps and hairsprays and deodorant, things like that. But then also your time. If you want to work with children, we could use you at the Discovery Center. If you want to help women get dressed and know how to dress better, we have a place for you. Mentors are a big need for us. As women who want to be matched up with one of our women and build a healthy relationship and guide them. That is a big need as well.
All your volunteers women as compared to men?
No, we do have some men. We are looking for mentors for our boys. Imagine a boy, 10, 11 years old, in a community of women.
Sure.
We can't teach them to be men. Only men could teach them to be men.
So kind of a mentoring
a mentor
program for a young student boy.
For boys, yes. We could love them and we could nurture them. But it's really important to have a male in their life. So male mentors for our boys.
So you depend upon the community's support.
Yes, so
financial
this
support,
financial
personal support, volunteer support, you depend on that.
Yes, we do not receive any government funds.
Oh, I was going to ask you that.
We do not receive any government funds. In fact, when the women come into our program, they actually stop their cash aid and food stamps.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yes, and the reason why we do that is because the cash aid and food stamps are there for, you're telling the government, you're telling the system that I need help, I can't support myself. So that's why they give it to you. When you come to us, we're now taking that responsibility. So it wouldn't be correct. It wouldn't be honest. But also we're teaching them how to be independent, godly women. So we're teaching them job skills. We're teaching them how to learn. So at the end, when they get a job in the job search phase, most of the women will not want to get back on cash aid because now they've learned who they are. So it's there to help. It's not there to live by.
Independent, isn't it?
It
to be
sure
your own
is.
person and make your own decisions.
Yes, and we wouldn't be able to do that without our volunteers. So our volunteers are a big component to the ministry.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today. And this is a wonderful conversation, but you have a great opportunity for our community to be part of your program and the service you give our community.
Yes.
To a group of people that are really in need of what you're offering. It's a great mix.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the
Now, let me just put
invitation.
this in perspective again today. And my final quote, kind of a parenting tip for the day, if you will. Raising children is like drafting a blueprint. You have to know where to draw the lines. So remember, that's what you do as a parent. You draw the lines. You use the word boundaries. You set boundaries for kids. You set boundaries for yourself. And that's the blueprint. And then you live within those boundaries, and life goes a lot better.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
The Green Gables Care Home is a 24-hour assisted living facility for the elderly located in Clovis, California, offering spacious private and semi-private rooms which are wheelchair approved, catering to the special person in your life who needs attention and wants to live in a loving home environment. The Green Gables Care Home has assisted living in secured homes for elderly with Alzheimer's, memory loss, and for your loved ones needing assistance with their activities of daily living. Call 559-297-9438 and visit greengablescarehome.com.
Sometimes good intentions hurt rather than help. For just $1.76 per meal, the Fresno Rescue Mission offers more than food. We offer hope. Please donate today.
Do you need a locksmith? Layman's Lock and Safe Service and Repair is available for you. 559-228-1805.
Gained a lot, learned a lot, and got a lot of love. If it weren't for the knowledge that I had gained from the classes at PCC, I probably wouldn't be the mom I am today. See, there it goes.
I would love you to meet my son Aaron. My situation was very difficult. I didn't know how my life was going to turn out.
We graduated in June 2010 and we got married in July. And through family, the Pregnancy Care Center changed our lives.
The Pregnancy Care Center was a huge, vital part in helping me walk through that pregnancy, in educating me and loving on me during that time.
Choosing a Medicare plan can be difficult and frustrating. Susan Hatch can guide you through the Medicare maze and help find the right plan for you. Susan helps people understand the confusing and drastic changes that occur every year in Medicare. Susan will only recommend plans that will protect your assets and allow you to continue to see your personal doctor. As a 100% independent agent, Susan is not controlled by any particular insurance company to steer a person onto any one particular plan. Susan was awarded the #1 Medicare supplement agent in California. Look for Susan's Medicare question and answers every Monday in the Fresno Bee. Call Susan at 559-307-2287 and visit MedicareToday.net.
CentralValleyTalk.com